for first session of one-day e-workshop titled Drug Regulatory Affairs. So I would like to request Alurkar sir, Principal, Satara College of Pharmacy, who incepted this concept of e-workshop about drug regulatory affairs to guide us. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. On behalf of Gauri Education Society, Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, I welcome Dr. Deepak Sohani, who is working as Senior Manager Regulatory Affairs at Wakad Limited, Mumbai. My colleague, Dr. S.S. Gilda, who is Chief Coordinator for this program, and Professor S.S. Mahamuni, who is working as the coordinator, and all the faculty members of Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, and the students who are present on this platform, as well as watching live on YouTube Live of our college channel. So I take this opportunity to welcome Sohani sir, and the second session will be of Mr. Sandeep Suryavanshi, who is working as Deputy Manager International Business at Serum Institute of India Private Limited, Pune. And fortunately, he is alumni of our college. I think he is the first student of first batch of our college. So I welcome both of them on behalf of our college, and wish all the the students as well as the faculty that they will really gain something at the end of this seminar, because both are experts from their field, and surely they are going to add much more things to their knowledge. Once again, I welcome to Sohani sir and Suryavanshi sir for this workshop. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to request Mahamuni sir to welcome and introduce today's speaker, Dr. Deepak Sohani sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, all of you, and thank you, sir, once again. I'm Mr. Sarang Mahamuni, Assistant Professor from Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our today's speaker. So today we are delighted to have Dr. Deepak Sohani, a very amazing speaker from Wakad Limited, Mumbai. He has been completed his MSc, PhD in botany from DG Ruparel College from Mumbai. He has collectively more than 30 years of experience in the various areas, such as he has been worked as a lecturer at SIES College, Mumbai in September 1991. He has been worked with Zandu Pharmaceutical Work Limited, Mumbai from August 1992 to September 1995 as an R&D scientist. Then he has been spent their valuable time at Ajanta Pharma Limited, Mumbai from October 1995 to December 2005 as an assistant manager from the Department of the Phytochemistry and the Drug Regulatory Affairs. Consecutively, he did work at the Serum Institute of India Limited, Hadapsar, Pune, from December 2005 to February 2007 as an assistant manager from the Department of the Export Registration. After that, he has been worked as a senior manager from the Drug Regulatory Affairs at Ajanta Pharma Limited, Mumbai from the March 2007 to November 2008. Successively, he has been worked for the Bristol Myers Squibb India Private Limited, Mumbai from November 2008 to June 2009 as a manager from the Department of the Regulatory Affairs. After that, he given their most of the effort to the Bioscientific Research Laboratory First Private Limited, Mumbai from the July 2009 to January 2013 as a project coordinator from the Department of the Clinical Trials. Then he had worked for Cyron Drug and Pharmaceutical Private Limited, Mumbai from the February 2013 to October 2014 as a manager from the Department of the Quality and Regulatory Affairs. Currently, he is working with a Kohkard Limited, Mumbai since from the November 2014 as a senior manager from the Department of the Regulatory Affairs. He is expert in various areas such as a global regulatory submission, handling state and central regulatory authorities, R&D experience and background, then data integrity and compliance with CGMP, that is current manufacturing practices, and strategic planning. He has been published various research papers in national and international reputed journals. He also participated and attended various workshops, seminars, and a symposium from national and an international level. He is a life member of the Friends of the Tree Association, member of the Botany Natural History Society, then also member of the Suvidha Education Trust, also member of the board of the studies in a syllabus committee of the Somia College, and member of the board of the studies in syllabus committee of SIES College, also member of the board of the studies syllabus committee of the Khalsa College. So it is very helpful to have such an outstanding and experienced personality to guide us and to share their huge knowledge and experience with us. So today he will share his expert talk on a topic, drug regulatory affairs. So I hope we all get a very wonderful information about today's topic. With that, I ask you all, help me to welcome him once again on this webinar. So I would like to request you, sir, please start to share your views on this today's topic. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I first of all thank Alurkar sir for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of my friends, and also thank you very much to Dr. Mahamuni for giving such a detailed description about myself and explaining my 31 years of career in such a wonderful time. Today I will be sharing with you my presentation on drug regulatory affairs. With that, just a minute, let me start the presentation and then I will go on explaining it one by one. So friends, is it possible for you to view the presentation? Hello?
No, sir, no. Screen is not visible.
Just a minute. Screen share.
Yes, sir, it's visible now.
Yeah. So everybody can see the screen, drug regulatory affairs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let us start with what is drug regulatory affairs. See, what I'm going to capture in today's presentation, topics covers introduction about the drug regulatory. It is followed by the qualification. What exactly is the requirement if you want to be a drug regulatory affairs personnel. what skills do you need to have, or you can, build up within yourself to be a good regulatory affairs person. Then job profile means in this I would like to cover what all types or where are the opportunities if you be a regulatory affairs personnel. Then comes the challenges, because every job has its own advantages and also the challenges, and of course you always feel excited when you face the challenge and when you get the result against the tough challenges. So some of the challenges as far as the regulatory authorities or regulatory queries, regulatory concerns are, I would like to share, which I'm sure that will be helpful to all my colleagues who want to build their career in regulatory affairs. And finally, question and answers. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you questions. It is your turn. You can ask any questions, any doubts if you have, and I will try to answer them with my whatever limited knowledge. Okay, so let us start with the introduction. What is regulatory affairs? So here, basically, regulatory affairs is a bridge between pharma companies and health authorities. This is very, standard definition which is given in majority of the books or any this thing. Any presentations or any speaker always talks, when it is regulatory affairs, it is a bridge between the pharma company and a health authority. Now, what is exactly this bridge means? Why this bridge is required? Why regulatory affairs is required, first of all? So just to give background, because I know you are very smart people, you get number of things readily available from internet and all. So when you think about regulatory affairs, basically any product when it is developed by a pharma company, which is usually called as a medicine, and of course apart from medicine there are other areas also where this regulatory affairs plays its role, but currently we are talking about pharma industry or medicinal industry. And then between these companies, whatever the product they develop, either this is a new product, a new molecule, new formulation, or it is a generic. Generic means it's a copy of any innovator molecule or innovator product. You have to prove that your quality of that product is as good as the innovator, or if it is a new product, you have to prove that the product has advantages compared with the existing therapies or existing medicines. And this is what you have to prove first to the health authorities. The health authorities then gives you permission to manufacture and market your product. And this is how any pharma company have regulatory affairs as their face value, or rather they are the representative of the pharma company to the health authorities as well as to rest of the members like distributors or other companies and all, where the people needs more and more information about that product. So coming to what all different types of this companies or areas where this regulatory affairs is involved is first pharmaceuticals, as we said. The second is medical devices. There are a number of devices, right from simple device like stethoscope, thermometer, blood pressure measuring instrument, up to the stent, the needles, syringes, all these things comes under the medical devices. And for registration of these medical devices, you also need help of regulatory affairs. Another area where regulatory affair plays a vital role is a nutritional products. Nowadays, majority of you will be knowing that nutritional product becomes a key area as far as people are getting awareness about their health, about the food intake, about their means, in short, you can say they are getting health conscious, and that is how these nutritional products are gearing up. So for registration of nutritional products also, you need a regulatory affairs person. Cosmetic is another area where you need these regulatory affairs for the registration into the products. And last but not the least is the biologicals. Biologicals means the companies like bioequivalence centers, where you have to perform bioequivalence or bioavailability of your product with the innovator or of your own product. Bioavailability you have to conduct on various phases. So for that also, you have to first get the permission from local authorities, health authorities, as well as from international authorities. Sometimes you have to get approvals from ethics committees. So all these activities are coming under the regulatory affairs domain. So this is how the regulatory affairs is having their importance in various areas. Now coming to the qualifications, means suppose if you want to be a regulatory affairs person, what all you need, what qualification do you need? Of course, the first is you have to have pharmacy understanding, and that is the reason why today I am giving this presentation to my all pharmacy colleagues. The second area is chemistry graduate or postgraduate, because you might be knowing, see, I'm not capturing any typical DMF, CTD, ACTD type of structure into this presentation, because I know majority of you are aware of all these requirements, even in complete details, because all those informations are available on internet. So I'm not capturing that part because you already know what is module 3, module 4, module 5 and all. So as far as module 3 is concerned, which is a CMC, that is chemistry, manufacturing and control, it is also called as. So here the chemistry of that particular molecule or the formulation plays a vital role. And that is why you have to have a chemistry graduate or chemistry postgraduate who works in drug regulatory affairs. The third area is the medical, because you know module 4 and module 5 is preclinical and clinical part of the dossier. So as far as the preclinical are concerned, where you know before giving the medicine to any human being, you have to conduct various trials on animals. So those data or those experiments which are carried out on animals, they comes under module 4, preclinical data. And after having established safety with that preclinical data, then the trials are taken up with human volunteer, which is called as clinical trials. And that trials or those data is captured in your module 5, which is a clinical dossier. So all these means module 4 as well as module 5, preclinical as well as clinical, both these part or both these modules are compiled by the medical department in various companies. So medical people also have a role to play as far as regulatory affairs are concerned. Another important area, another important people who can think about regulatory affairs is the manufacturing. The reason is again CMC part of the dossier, that is module 3, where various processes are mentioned. Like if you take a simple tablet formulation where mixing, lubrication, granulation, drying, coating, and all such kind of steps are mentioned. So if you have some understanding as far as manufacturing is concerned, it is very easy for you to compile the dossier or reply to a query which is related with those particular areas. For example, a person who is having understanding of tablet manufacturing can reply to a query or can compile a dossier for a tablet where, you know, what is bilayer tablet and what is dissolution profiling, what is cleaning validation, what is process validation. So all these things are better known, better understood by a manufacturing person rather than a layman. The another area is the quality. Now, quality comprise of quality control, which is the analytical part or analytical wing of the dossier, as well as quality assurance, which covers various SOPs, various rules and regulations, various aspect as far as that particular company is concerned. So that part is also very much helpful for a regulatory affairs person for his understanding about the dossier. And last but not the least is the regulatory affairs. There are various organizations who are conducting regulatory affairs courses. There are some diplomas diploma courses available in regulatory affairs. So they are also contributing as far as the regulatory affairs requirements are concerned. So these are various types of areas or different types of skills, or rather the people from these areas who can contribute to a regulatory affairs team. Coming next is a skill where you should have a proper understanding. What understanding you require? Understanding about that particular molecule, understanding about the manufacturing site where this molecule is developed, understanding about the importance of that molecule as compared with the existing therapy which is available in the market, and most importantly, why we are all doing all these regulatory affairs and regulatory filing is to get the product registered in a particular country and help our business team to do the business and generate money so that we should get the salaries. So all these things comes with a proper understanding of the subject. After that comes is the compilation. If you are good in compilation, because you know regulatory affairs job is more of a postman type job where you have to collect data from your medical affairs, you have to collect data from analytical team, you have to collect data from your quality assurance, you have to collect data from your licensing or legal team, and you have to compile all together to prepare a file which is called as a dossier. In these dossiers, there are various types. Say, for example, if you want to file an active pharmaceutical ingredient, API, then it has to be filed as a drug master file or called DMF. I'm not going into detail of what it is DMF is comprised of and all, but because that information is already available on public domain. So if a company is manufacturing only the API, then also you have to have the regulatory affairs services for those companies where you can prepare the drug master files for various molecules which are manufactured by that company and would like to register them into various countries, including India. The second one is the CTD or ACTD. CTD is nothing but Common Technical Document. What is Common Technical Document? Or ACTD is ASEAN Common Technical Document. CTD and ACTD comprises mainly the same modules, except CTD have module 2, which is nothing but the reviews of module 3, 4, and 5, which is not there in ACTD. So ideally, CTD and ACTD, they are almost same as far as module 1, 3, 4, and 5 are concerned. Now, why these common technical documents are required? Because, you know, when I have started my career as a regulatory affairs person, there were various countries I used to handle, and every country was having their own way of registering pharmaceutical product. In that, they have their own checklist. In that checklist, sometimes the legal documents were legal documents, for example, manufacturing license, GMP certificate. GMP means good manufacturing practice certificate, good laboratory practice certificate, free sale certificate, certificate of pharmaceutical product. Such type of various certificates they used to ask, and these documents are followed by manufacturing processes, process validation, stability studies, artworks, and finally preclinical and clinical documentation. However, there was no standard documentation list for all the countries. Majority of those countries were having similar requirement, but still some or the other requirement was plus or minus. So ultimately, what the nations have decided commonly that we will have a CTD format or ACTD format where we will have a standard format, and in that format, the product documentation has to get captured, which will help the reviewer or health authority to review the dossier very easily, because a particular data, if they're required, they know which part of the dossier they have to check, and that makes their evaluation of the dossier easy. Nowadays, eCTD and electronic submissions and all those have come up, where you have various softwares through which you can upload the data, and it directly connects with health authority server, and your dossier gets deposited or it gets saved or get logged into their server, and then it goes to various regulatory authority regulatory inspectors who evaluate your dossiers, and then they give their comment. There is one more terms which you might have come across, that is NDA or new drug application, and ANDA, that is abbreviated new drug application. As far as United States are concerned, any product, if you want to register, if it is a new product, new molecule, you have to file NDA, new drug application. However, if it is a generic product, generic means it already have some innovator in the market, and you have prepared a mimic of that molecule. Only thing that it is much cheaper than the innovator, and it is bioequivalent with the innovator, then that application is filed as ANDA, abbreviated new drug application. Abbreviation is for module 5, which is a clinical trial module, where if your molecule is bioequivalent, you don't have to perform complete clinical trial. Then comes company registration. As far as majority of the African countries are concerned, along with the product, you also have to register your pharmaceutical plant where this particular pharmaceutical product is manufactured. So for registration of a pharmaceutical plant, you have to file the company registration. Then based on your application, the health authority sends their inspector to audit your facility. They audit the facility, they give their report. If there are any non-compliances, then you have to comply with them. And once you comply, then your company get GMP certificate. That is nothing but a good manufacturing practice certificate. Okay. As far as the skills are concerned, you also have to have good communication. Now, why this good communication is required? Because as I explained you need to have means you are the face value of the company to various health authorities. So when you're presenting your company to any health authority, you have to be in a presentable manner. So your communication has to be very soft. At the same time, it has to be firm. And you should have good communication with various departments to compile the data. Say, for example, if you want stability study, then you have to have your good communication with quality control. If you need any validation, then you have to have good communication with your manufacturing and quality assurance. If you want manufacturing licenses or GMP certificates, then you have to have good correlations with your licensing team or your FDA team, who interact with the local FDA and gives you such documents. So communication is very, very, very important as far as regulatory affairs skills are concerned. Next is justification. Why justification? See, because many of the time what happens that if a country has asked you about a particular data, and suppose if that data is not available, then how my available data justifies the requirement that you must able to convince the health authority. And for that, you should have a convincing power, which I have captured under the term justification. This, I would like to give one small example as far as these justifications are concerned. We have conducted one stability study on ampules, injectables. Okay. We have completed that stability studies at 25 degrees centigrade and 60% related humidity, which is a zone 3 requirement of stability studies. However, the country where we have submitted the dossier, it falls under zone 4B, and they have reverted that we want you to perform the complete stability studies as per zone 4, which is 30 degrees centigrade plus and minus 2 degrees and 75% related humidity. Now, when we cross-check with our quality team, what we found that along with 25 degrees, they have also charged 30 degree samples, but the humidity is same, that is 60%. It is not 75%. We took that data also and we approached to the health authority. Now, suppose if we have to perform or redo the complete stability analysis, the stability needs to be performed for around 2 years, 24 months. So 24 months, the product couldn't have got registered unless we get the data. So what we did, we went to health authority, we shared the data with them, which was for 30 degrees centigrade, but the relative humidity was at 60% and not 75%. However, we have given them justification that the product is packed under the immediate packing material is ampule, which is a glass ampule, which is also having almost zero permeability for water, and thus related humidity will not have any impact on our product. So we have studied the temperature variation at 30 degrees centigrade. However, as per the norms, we have not conducted the stability at 75% related humidity. However, considering the ampules being non-permeable, you please grant us the approval. We give you undertaking that we will perform stability studies with the requisite uh, temperature and humidity parameters, and we will submit you the data at least for the accelerated studies. So based on our justification, Ministry of Health has agreed and they have granted us conditional permission that we will have to conduct stability studies of the first 3 batches, and we have to provide them the accelerated as well as real-time stability data, and thus we don't have to wait for 24 months and the product got registered at the earliest. So this is what we have to be alert when we are working in regulatory affairs, that whenever any query comes or if any data is not available, what we can do, whether we can justify the unavailability of the document, whether we can still bargain with health authority for getting the approval, that is what comes under the justification. And last but not the least is the time management. Why time management is important? Because everywhere, whenever you are filing a dossier or when you are compiling the dossier, you should know what exactly information you required. If that information is not readily available, if any particular department is already working on it, then you have to have a retrospective calculation about when that document will be available, when that certificate will be made available. If that certificate is available, what is the validity or the expiry period of that certificate, whether my registration samples are available or not, whether my registration fees has been allocated by finance department or not. All these points you have to capture when you are filing for a dossier, and that is why time management is very, very essential. Because if you doesn't look at time management for any registration, you will fall short of some or the other requirement and the registration process will be delayed. Now, as far as job profile means, where all these regulatory people can, get adjusted in the industry. The first is domestic or the India market. There are many companies who have their presence in domestic market or India market. Those are Indian companies where you can get a regulatory affairs position. But at the same time, there are many foreign companies who want to have their operation in India, and they also offers you jobs only for domestic market. So this is how you have chances open with Indian companies, as well as you have chances open with the export companies or the multinational companies. Now, what all you required if you want to register a product in India? You have to have a complete dossier about that plant. At the same time, if that particular molecule or formulation, if it is coming in the monograph of Indian Pharmacopoeia, then we have to comply as per the pharmacopoeial reference or Indian Pharmacopoeia. Whereas the second is export, where, there are two types of exporting countries. One is a stringent regulated countries, or SRAs, stringent regulatory authorities. And second is not so stringent, which we called as rest of the world. When we talk about a stringent regulatory authority, what does it mean? If you check on the internet, you will find around 36 member countries comes under stringent regulatory authorities. So here, the authorities are so strict that they don't allow chalta hai kind of attitude. Okay. So here, regulatory authorities, stringent regulatory authorities always ask for a complete compliant dossier. So your dossier has to be complete and has to be compliant as far as the regulatory requirements of these stringent regulatory authorities are concerned. Compared to that, rest of the world, where majority of the smaller countries, smaller in the sense they are smaller as far as the economical strengths are concerned. So such countries, they still allow your CTD or ACTD or DMF to get filed with some or the other data pending, and they compensate for that pending data with undertaking letters that in due course of time we will perform that particular study or perform that particular uh, validation or stability or any of the process, and the results will be provided to that Ministry of Health in due course of time. So this is how stringent regulatory authorities and normal regulatory authorities work separate. Now, which are the countries comes under stringent regulatory? First is USA, United States of America. Everybody knows US FDA and their 486 and this and that. So basically, United States of America is the one who have this stringent regulatory authorities symbol, which is followed by Japan, Korea, Australia, South Africa, and so many and so on. So there are a total 36 countries which comes under stringent regulatory authorities. As far as the rest of the world are concerned, there are a number of countries, more than 100 countries, where your registrations is comparatively easy. By providing few sets of document, still you can manage to get your product registered and you get the proper treatment. As far as various areas are concerned, what are the areas for drug regulatory affairs? One is the licensing. What do you mean by licensing? See, whenever you want a product to be launched either in domestic market or in export market, you must have first the license or product permission. So what is this license or the product permission is you have to submit the form to FDA, Food and Drug Administration, to manufacture a particular formulation as per the text contained. And then they will evaluate it, and based on that evaluation, they will grant you the license or GMP certificates or any other certificate which you have requested them for the registration of the product. Second one is dossier compilation. As I have told you, there are various types of dossiers available. If it is an API dossier, it is called as DMF, drug manufacturing formula. Second one is the CTD or ACTD format, where majority of the African and European communities, they follow this CTD, ACTD format. ACTD format is majorly followed in Asian markets or Asian countries. And as far as the CTD is concerned, it is observed or it is followed in African market. Third option what we have seen, that was ANDA and NDA. So abbreviated new drug application or new drug application, which is done for United States filing. So for that also, you should know what exactly the information is required, and thus you should know what is the drug regulatory affairs. Last is the query response. So whenever you file a dossier, and if you get a query on it, you have to find out the query response in a specified time mentioned on that query. So coming next is the challenges as far as these regulatory affairs are concerned. What are the different challenges? The first is the query response. See, when we file a dossier, we already know that what available data which we have. Based on that, we go to them and we give them the dossier. Now, whatever available information which we have already captured in the dossier and submitted to the health authority, when they evaluate that dossier and they found a particular data is missing, and then on that, if they ask you for the compliance, then it becomes very tough. Why tough? Because if that data could have been there, then that might have got captured already in your dossier. But if it is not captured, that means you might have missed out the data, or that data is already completely missing. So in such instances, what you have to do is check with them, check with those people what data they have asked. You have to understand what kind of query they have raised and try to resolve the query as fast as possible. Second is post-approval changes. So what comes under this post-approval changes? Same as what I have explained, that if you have performed a stability study, say for example 2 years, that is 24 months. But at the end of 24 months, when you cross-check the assay, you found that there is no much of the drop in assay. Impurity levels have not crossed the limit. If phosphorus and other minerals are available in the soil, so why not we can go with any changes, say for example 24 months to 36 month stability studies. So any such kind of change in the registered formulation that comes under post-approval changes. So once your product is already registered, and if you want to make any modification in that particular product or particular part of the dossier, that part is called as the post-approval changes. Third comes the coordination. Why coordination is a challenge? Because when you are coordinating with your analytical team, when you are coordinating with your medical team, when you are coordinating with your licensing team, they also have their own priorities. They also have their own problems. They also have their own issues which they present to you. Now, when they present such issues, when they explains you their issues, what steps you are going to take? Are you going to resolve them? Because unless you resolve those issues, you are not going to get the data or the document or the certificates which is required by you. So in such cases, your coordination between your teammates is very, very, very essential. The most successful person is the one who has the best coordination within his team. Now, this coordination, even at the time of your filing, is very, very essential, because you are not simply filing the data or the file containing the technical document or called dossier, but also this dossier has to get supported with legals. Legals means nothing but the manufacturing license, GMP certificate, COPP, free sale certificates, and so on. So we have to cross-check what is the validity, when are we going to renew these this particular documents, and also what are the timelines, because we have to submit this dossier with a proper valid time of these documents. Say for example, if my manufacturing license is getting expired in next 3 months, okay, and my new manufacturing license has not yet received, can I file the dossier? Yes, the answer is yes. Yes, you can file the dossier, but at the same time you have to be ready, or you have to ask, you have to follow up with your licensing person to get the license, the renewal or the fresh license before the expiry of existing license, and then you have to submit it to the respective ministry and get your product renewed or re-approved. Third part, when we are submitting any document for registration, is samples. Many of the countries, they ask for registration samples. Registration samples are very essential even from the distributor's point of view, because he is the one who will be selling the product, selling the formulation. So he should know how that product exactly look alike, and this is how the samples, dossiers, legals, and registration fees, all these four things have to be in coordination at the time of submitting to the ministry. When you submit it to ministry, then only your product will be well accepted and you get a chance to register your product. And again, finally, the timelines. Why it is essential to have timelines? Because all the activity in the pharma, if you consider, they are more or less interlinked with each other. Okay, so suppose, say for example, your dossier is ready, but at that time your GMP certificate gets expired, then you can't file the dossier. If your GMP certificate and dossier is ready, but it is going to take another 3 months for getting the samples because there is no domestic requirement or whatever may be the reason, but if it's going to take 1 year, simply in that particular case, all the registration process will get delayed. So this is very, very important that you should have a proper coordination for your dossier filing. And of course, you also have to take care of your other activities in the sense, the follow-ups for product permissions, follow-ups for the documentations from quality team, and so on. So with this, I have completed a very brief description about what is drug regulatory affairs, because it is nearing 4 o'clock. I have already taken more time, and now the session is over for your questions, if any.
Yes, and now question answer session is open to all of you. Anybody have any question regarding today's topic? Kindly drop down your question in the chat box. Yes, anybody have any question? Kindly drop down your question in a chat box. Sir, one question is there from my side.
Yeah.
Already you given one of the example regarding you studied one of the stability study regarding what is the ampule is there right now. So you said that you give one of the information for the approval which is studied by yourself. So is there any criteria regarding to give any type of the whatever the query or whatever the information from our side to approve anything? Is there any criteria or any format for that?
No, see, as far as document submissions are concerned, we have definite formats which comes under DMF, ACTD, CTD, or ANDA and all. But when they ask you certain queries, any ministry on your submitted document, then there is no specific format. Of course, I am always following one same format because for my easy understanding, but it is not mandatory that everyone has to follow the same format. My format is very simple. I always prefer to give reference of their query letter, because see, they have lot many dossiers for evaluation, and they go on sending the queries. So any queries which they send, after that, when they took another set of dossiers or third set of dossiers, when my response goes to them, it might be a delay of say 1 or 2 months. So nobody has that strong memory that who can remember what queries I have raised say 2 months back and all. So it is always, if you give reference of their query, that sir, I have received queries from your ministry, which I have attached as Annexure 1. So he can immediately refer to Annexure 1, what all queries he has raised, and he can recollect. Okay, I understood. These are the questions at that time I was having in mind. Then once that query page is there, if there are multiple queries, say for example 3-4 questions if they have asked, then you have to give question answer type of structure. So this is my way of submitting query response, or my way of compiling document. But if someone else has a different structure, a different way of submitting the queries, that is also accepted. It is not that it is not going to get accepted. Only thing that you will need to search where what was the initial query, what was the response given and all, and that may consume more time, which unfortunately I am currently lacking behind.
Okay, thank you, sir. If anybody have any questions regarding that, you can. I think one question is there, sir.
Yeah.
Please give us about the job opportunities in the sector. What things students should consider or prepare if she or he is interested to work in a drug regulatory affair after PG.
Okay. See, I have already captured this particular point in my presentation, that when you are working in regulatory affairs, you have various options, various opportunities. You have domestic filings also, you have international filings. Then in international, of course, there are stringent regulatory, but of course, stringent regulatory, no company takes you directly as a trainee. They first always prefer you to get involved into domestic filing and ROW filing, and from there you get shifted to stringent regulatory. So these are the standard path, may not be written as such, but unwritten laws, you can say, that you always get first with a domestic and ROW team, and then you get a chance to work in a stringent regulated market. As far as areas are concerned, as I have told you, that after your post graduation, since you are a pharmacy background, you can work in API manufacturing companies to prepare DMF, or formulation manufacturing companies to prepare CTD or ACTD, or any other format. And similarly, similarly, what are your specialties? What are your areas? If you have good medical knowledge, because when I spent around 20 odd years in regulatory affairs, I thought that I must know what is bioequivalence and all. So that is the reason why I left the company and I joined Bioscientific, the company who performs bioequivalence studies, and understood what are the requirements, how it works and all. And then again, I came back to the pharmaceutical industries to join with. So this is how you have to be alert as far as what are the opportunities. Opportunities are there, no doubt about that. Various opportunities are there, but you should know how to capture them, how to grab them. Even many of my friends, they don't know how to prepare dossier, but they have very good skill, very good skill. What you can call muh mein mithas hai. So such person is very good as far as the licensing with FDA persons are concerned. So he goes there, he discuss with the drug inspector, he try and convince them, and he get our GMP certificates or any certificates which we have asked within the shortest possible time. So it is not necessary that you should have a good compilation skill only. You can have a good communication skill and still you can succeed in your job. So it depends what kind of job you are getting in the regulatory affairs. See, regulatory affairs is a vast area. It is not something a small department in your company. It has a very vast area. So what is your expertise, that you will come to know only after you start working in the department. And once you start working in the department and once you get that feel, automatically you will feel proud and you can get focused on your work.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is one question from Dr. Suhit Gilla, that is, are there any changes in regulatory aspects after the COVID situation to accelerate the drug approval process?
Yeah, this is a very nice question. Thank you, Dr. Suhit. Basically, what we are facing is with the site registration or the company registration, because all these product registration dossiers or the registration files we could still send through internet, through FTP links and all. But as far as the site registrations are concerned, because it is related with the site inspection or the audit, we are facing some delays because of this COVID situation, because international flights are not yet open, and even the inspector feel very risky to travel in such condition. So what some of the countries have done, that they have increased the GMP certification value or the period by initially 6 months and later on another 6 months. So total 12 months registration period or the approval period has been extended by some of the ministries. Whereas some other ministries, what they have decided, that they will give waive off. So they will not come for the inspection, even if your site is not approved, still they will continue, because their economical condition is also not that strong, and they want these medicines, and they have already reviewed your company initially at once, and they are assured about your quality standards. So based on their past experience, even they also can grant you the extension of GMP. However, there are certain countries like Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. These countries, what they have said, that they will perform desk audit. What is desk audit? You have to show what are the documents you have. Once they review the document, based on the documentation, based on the correctness of the documentation, they will grant you the permission and then that can speed up the registration process. So this is what changes have been observed after this post-COVID situation.
Okay, thank you, sir. If anybody have any question, please drop your question. Yes.
Oh my God, photo session. Okay, what I will do, so I think I have to stop my this screen share, I suppose.
So kindly all of you start your video for the screenshot. Yes, all of you kindly start your video. Okay, thank you all of you. So thank you once again, sir. It's my immense pleasure and privilege to propose vote of the thanks on the behalf of the Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara. I would like to thank today's eminent speaker, Dr. Deepak Sohani, Senior Manager from the OCAD Limited, Mumbai. Sir has insight important point regarding the drug regulatory affair and given most emphasis on skill required for the drug regulatory affairs, DMF, and how to prepare the dossier. Then he also discussed about CTD, ACTD, NDA and ANDA, and most of the important things, the job profile, then challenges regarding the drug regulatory affair consequence.
Sir.
So with that, I thank to once again to you, sir. So I also grateful to propose the vote of the thanks to the Dr. N.H. Alurkar, Principal, Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, for their continuous support to organizing such e-workshops and webinars. I would like to thank the organizing committee members and also thankful to all the participants from our college, and also thankful to all the members and supportive staff from the Satara College of Pharmacy, Satara, for their direct and indirect support to conduct all these programs. So with that, the due permission of all the dignitaries and the organizing committee, I conclude that the first session from this webinar is over. So after this second session will be start sharp at 5 o'clock.